2 decades-old photo album confirms mom's intuition about future son-in-law. Do not think that love, in order to be genuine, has to be extraordinary. What we need is to love without getting tired. Be faithful in small things because it is in them that our strength lies, said Mother Teresa, a selfless lady who became a mother to thousands of children across the world. That somewhat describes who a mother is. Each woman gets to know an unseen side of herself from the very moment they know that one life is growing inside her. And those first cries of the baby becomes the most magical sound for the mother. A mom's concern is always justified and valid. Moms are like that. They have the inbuilt ability to care and worry at the same time. They get angry and still love anyway. This is the story of a concerned mother whose daughter told her that she loved someone and wanted to spend the rest of her life with him. She wanted to be sure about this boy, and when she started to look into his past, an unbelievable discovery was made. Mothers are incredible creatures, and we use creatures because a mom is a mom, be it a human or any species living on this planet, from birds to marine life, from predators to prey. Anytime a being gives birth to its babies, it is a mom, isn't it? Keeping the other beings of this planet aside, we are only talking about humans here and how any mom would pray the best for her kids. And so did Kay Parker, mother of Heidi Parker, but some odd feelings didn't let her live. Heidi Parker, a resident of Sheffield, South Yorkshire, completed her schooling while staying with her family in her hometown. Once she completed her high school with great scores, she got selected in several universities, but she knew she has to choose one for her subject interest. Heidi, like always, took her mother's advice and selected what was best for her career prospect. Finally, Heidi took admission at Newcastle University, Newcastle upon Tyne, England, to continue her studies in economics and management. She was a major student in the college, yet she was one of the many students who didn't receive the privilege of living in the college hostels. As Heidi didn't get the option of the college hostel, she started to look for an apartment on rent with a couple of her friends. This was the start of their new life far from their families. Well, of course, Heidi stayed in regular touch with her mother Kay. While Heidi was still learning to stay away from her family, she was living with her friends in a flat which was far from her college. After living there for a while, Heidi and her friends decided to move out to different places and search for cheaper and better options for themselves. Well, yes, she was happy that she'll be moving to a better place. However, fate had unusual plans for the young girl. In 2011, after doing some search, Heidi Parker was eventually able to find a small room for herself. The day she moved out, the other guys moved into the house. She handed over the keys to one of the new tenants of the house. However, this wasn't going to be the last encounter with this new guy who moved into her old apartment. In that one moment of interaction, they just smiled casually and Heidi wished him good luck with the new place. After that, she left, and the guy got busy in moving the packed boxes safely inside the house. They were so caught up that they didn't even ask each other's name. Heidi's new place was exactly what she has been looking for. It was small but peaceful, and the best part was that she wasn't supposed to share it with anyone else. This meant she won't be questioned anymore, nor will she be judged in her home. She decorated the room as per her wish, and it felt like she found her happy place there. Within the first week of moving into the new place, one early morning, Heidi received a call. Over the call, she was referring to a particular thing and explaining how it should work. Well, this issue wasn't going to be resolved over the call because fate had a huge plan for her. So before hanging up, Heidi assured the person on the other line that she'll be there the same evening to assist him. This call was from the same guy who moved into her old apartment. He managed to get her number from the landlord, but why would he need her contact number? What was the last call about, and why did Heidi agree to see him that evening? The guy called Heidi as the washing machine was giving him a hard time. And when he wasn't able to do it himself, he called Heidi. He requested Heidi to come back to her old apartment to help him learn the steps, to which she agreed. Heidi reached the place and told the guy about the process. She waited until he was able to do it by himself. On one side, the laundry was going on, and on the other side, the guy offered her a cup of coffee. They started to talk and realized they liked each other enough to plan the next meeting. This time it wasn't going to be during the laundry though. The guy Heidi just met was Ed Savitt. He too was a student at Newcastle University, but he was in a different course, i.e., business and psychology. Soon after their first meeting, they started seeing each other on a regular basis. Unlike Heidi, Ed was born and brought up in London itself. He just wanted to take some time of his own, for which he chose to move out of his family home. While Heidi was sharing her hacks for drying clothes, Ed had completely fallen for her at first sight. He asked her for a date right away, though Heidi was not going to say yes without knowing this smart-looking man a little better. So, they just started to meet more and more often. Like always, Heidi was talking to her mother the other day when she talked about this new guy with her. Kay Parker, her mother, knew Heidi's emotional nature, and seeing her talk about this Ed with much enthusiasm, her mother couldn't help but worry if this guy was the right or not. Both of them shared similar interests and started to go out together more often. In no time they became friends, and from friends, it was an easy way into a relationship. They were equally interested in sports and equally disinterested in the matters of art. Together they made a perfect couple. When they introduced each other in their friends' circle, they were given an auspicious title. Heidi and Ed were called the college sweethearts, and the couple even stood fair to this title. Long story short, they were inseparable. And together, their 4 years of college passed quickly, and the time to focus on their careers was right in front of them. After college, life gets a lot harder if you don't act wisely. Heidi and Ed were one of their kind. The couple met less in those early days of their career and worked hard to get to a stable position from where they could think of living together forever. Heidi Parker was working as a PR manager at the Sony Interactive Entertainment, and Ed was planning on opening an independent coffee shop in the Southfield area. Everything seemed stable enough for the couple to think of settling down together. This meant they were about to tell their families. So, Heidi Parker and Ed Savitt invited their moms, Kay Parker and Fiona Savitt, for a dinner party in southwest London, Wandsworth to be specific. The couple kept their fingers crossed while they waited for their moms to arrive. Ed and Heidi organized the dinner, keeping their mother's likes and dislikes in mind. The couple's efforts seemed to go right, as both the ladies were enjoying each other's company. It was a big deal for everyone. After all, their kids were going to stay together for the rest of their lives. What no one knew was how stunned everyone was going to be by the end of that night. "We knew we were going to be together forever," explained Heidi, on seeing her mother to like the guy. Ed and his mother, Fiona, she wanted it to work, and her mother to know that Ed really loved her so much. Just like their kids, both Kay and Fiona too had a lot in common. Both the ladies were a mother to more than 2 children and many other hobbies. The best of them was that they shared the same passion for sailing. And people like them always have lots and lots of interesting stories to tell. Just like most of the British families, the Parkers and the Savitts too were fond of the Mediterranean region. Especially during the winter season, both the families used to go sailing during holiday time. That's when they started talking about their adventures and memorable vacations. Kay started sharing the experience of one of her most memorable trips when her kids were younger. It happened when Heidi was just 6 years old, and her family and she were on a 2-week holiday to Gumbit, Turkey. This story sounded a bit odd to everyone for some reason that no one could understand at that time. Kay recalled Heidi becoming friends with another 6-year-old boy who was also enjoying vacations with his family. Both of the kids called each other boyfriend and girlfriend and held each other's hands most of the time. Throughout the holidays, they remained inseparable. Fiona was fascinated by this story, especially after listening to the even more surprising part of the story. Heidi's little holiday boyfriend's name was Ed too. Kay too didn't know how she should be reacting upon this coincidence and preferred to celebrate her daughter's happiness. Little did she know that this odd feeling of hers was indeed correct. No matter how weird it felt to both the families, somehow that conversation turned into a different direction. And after spending a couple of hours together, Ed and Heidi finally shared their wish to get married by the end of that year. Everyone was overwhelmed and agreed to it. However, the holiday boyfriend, Ed, didn't leave anyone's mind. The night went well, but Kay was left with a lot of questions. All of a sudden, she wanted to know more about Heidi's holiday boyfriend, Ed. Although she had no explanation for her curiosity, yet she wanted to figure out if her doubts were correct. When Kay wasn't able to forget about the party incident even after several days, she contacted Fiona to get her help regarding her concern. Fiona, who was equally eager to solve this mystery as it was bothering her, immediately agreed to it. The ladies discussed a lot but didn't come up with a solution until 2 weeks later, when Kay suddenly got into her storeroom thinking to clean up the old mess and make space for the wedding items. Unaware of the truth she was about to face, this impulsive decision of Kay to clean the attic required replacing a lot of old boxes, managing her old items and throwing away the useless ones. While going through one of the boxes, she noticed a dusty album in the bottom of it. This was it. This was what Kay was trying to find. Yes, all this cleaning and dusting was just an excuse. This album was somewhere in the back of her memory. However, she wasn't sure where exactly it was kept. So far, Kay wasn't sure if this was the same album she had in her mind or not. Once she opened the photo album, Kay was certain that she was going in the right direction. This album contained the photographs of their family holiday in Turkey. All the questions that were on her mind ever since she heard about Ed, the little boyfriend, were answered then and there. Those family photos of their trip to Gumbit in July 1997 brought so many memories with it. Kay remembered how amazing holiday it was and how extremely happy her daughter, Heidi, had been during those 2 weeks. Going through the pictures, she eventually found a photo of Heidi standing next to her holiday boyfriend, a 6-year-old blonde boy. This time Kay immediately recognized this boy. She had recently met this boy and she knew whom to tell this to. Your guess is correct, it was the same Ed. And Kay immediately turned over the pages and there were more photos of Ed and Heidi when they were 6. Heidi liked Ed Savitt when she was 6 and she was completely unaware of it till then. It was surreal for her. Kay recalled that moment stating, "I was screaming, it was just unreal." Till then, Kay knew they'll be marrying and will be living together. But after this revelation, she knew that they met when they were 6 and they were meant to be together. Of course, I sent it to Fiona. Then loads more photographs came out. None of us had any idea whatsoever that Heidi and Ed had met before university. But during that 2-week holiday, they held hands most of the time. The first person to know about it after Kay was Fiona. She too was taken aback by the photo that Kay just texted her. She was already proud that her son chose the right girl for himself. However, no, she too believed that both of the kids were destined to be together. When Kay sent me the photo of a little boy called that, I shrieked, "Oh my goodness, that's Ed." It was unbelievable, recalled Fiona. Kay kept her search going and found many other pictures of the kids together. When the mothers shared the pictures with their families, including Heidi and Ed, they were nothing less of amused. According to Heidi, this discovery changed her as a person forever. When my mom found the first photo of us, she sent it to me and I was stunned. I actually had to lie down, Heidi said in an interview. She further added, Ed's family then dug out their photo album from the same holiday and found about 5 other photos of us together and with our siblings too. It was unbelievable. It absolutely blows my mind that we could have never found out that we first knew each other all those years ago, said Heidi, who never even imagined that they've known each other before the day Ed called her for help. I didn't believe in fate before finding that out, but there's no arguing with it. We're clearly destined to be together, said Heidi. The lady who believed in coincidences started to believe in fate. She was now sure more than ever that she wanted to marry Ed. Kay suggested that maybe they just had a subconscious realization they had shared that time together when they met as adults. Anyway, it happened. Ed and Heidi were now certain that they'll take their wedding plans further. And then they finally tied the knot. Ed and Heidi took their wedding vows in August 2017. The ceremony was conducted at the Derbyshire, a 12th century construction. It looked like the best choice for a couple who shared a long history since age 6. More than hundreds of guests witnessed their grand wedding. The reception was a huge celebration of two families getting along perfectly. The guests and the bride and the groom danced under the beautiful lights and an exciting pool party was conducted. Their wedding was an unforgettable day for the couple as well as the guests too. Not only did Ed and Heidi find each other, but also their parents were reunited with their old friends. Jonathan and Fiona Savitt are best buddies with Kay and Keith Parker, just like they were 20 years ago in Turkey. Nowadays, both sets of parents plan for vacations together. Ed's 3 siblings, Emma, Maddie, and Matt, and Heidi's 2 siblings, Hannah and Olivia, also met during 1997. After all, they were on a family holiday. Kay says about it, "It was not just Heidi and Ed who met on that holiday, but all of us as well. We had been together for 4 years when we found out, so it's mad to think we might never have known. It's crazy to think we could have got married, share our lives together, but then never found out about this," explained Heidi. She claimed, "People keep telling us that it must be fate and it's like the plot of a movie.